Alex Kelly with FiberSpine, and I wanted to take a minute to talk to builders and developers about adding FiberSpine ultra-broadband network infrastructure to the properties that you're building or will be building soon. Now, I wanted to show you this. This is a copy of Time magazine with a 40-page special report on the smarter home. And it says, the dwellings of the future will make you calmer, safer, richer, and healthier, and they already exist. So you can bet that if they're dedicating this topic to the cover of Time magazine, there is a tech-savvy buyer out there, and they take note of how a property is wired and what kind of services they can come to expect. That's really a key thing, because it's my feeling that, having bought this home not too long ago, I really didn't have the choice of one that was wired or not, or tech ready or ultra broadband ready. It just wasn't a consideration. But I can tell you that if I'm looking at two different properties, comparably priced, similar properties, that type of thing, if one has an infrastructure that will last me decades and will go as fast as I need to go and accommodate all the devices I can throw at it, I'm going to look very, very seriously at that home, and it probably would have sold faster or will sell faster with that infrastructure in place. So I think the addition of a FiberSpine is going to represent an incremental cost that will differentiate your brand and help you sell your homes faster. The other thing is, it's really low risk when the walls are down. There are several ways to do this. My feeling is, obviously the thing that makes most sense is to have a network that's turnkey, where people come in and they might want to hook up the router of their choice or hook their end devices up to it, but it's got the conduit in place, certainly, it's got the fiber in place, certainly, and it's got the electronics that extend that service from a central point, say down in the garage, or where the service providers could meet your homeowners in their building or home, and then the FiberSpine or backbone network will extend to the various areas of the house. And from there, it's just a matter of plugging and going, or connecting up Wi-Fi hotspots that can talk to thermostats and home automation devices and those type of things. So there's several options, but again, while the walls are down, I can't tell you how important it is to at least put in the microduct, because it's so much easier to come back and add fiber and add connectivity later if you don't have to dig through walls and attic insulation and crawl spaces and that type of thing. And it's really an incremental addition if you're going to be wiring the home anyway with electrical wiring. The other key point here is that the service providers that I've been keeping an eye on, like Google Fiber and AT&T and others, are adopting a new way of deploying in communities, and that's build to demand. And that means that they're not just going to come into a geography and wire everything in sight. They're really going to determine where the bulk of the demand for their services is, and they're going to wire up those areas with the top priority. So there's nothing that talks about demand or demonstrates the demand for ultra-broadband services, Gigabit, Ethernet, and beyond, better than having an entire community with homes that are wired for these types of services. And the homeowner really gets to benefit, because they know that in terms of connectivity to the network, their home is not going to be a bottleneck. They don't have to worry about some archaic wiring or trying to do things with coax infrastructure, if you will, that only goes to 800 meg or so, or a Wi-Fi router that's marginally capable at covering their entire home. They know that if there's going to be any possibility for a bottleneck, it's going to be outside their home, not inside their home. And the other thing that is one of my key goals with FiberSpine is to develop a technology that disappears. And that means I'm really not focused on how whiz-bang all the bells and whistles are on it. I really want you to have a customer that sees the FiberSpine logo and knows that it just works. It's really fast and it just works. So if they have a problem, it's either going to be in a computer they have, or a media server, or a NAS storage device, or what have you, or it's going to be with their service provider, but it's not going to be with the fiber spine. And we're working on products now to make it as simple as looking at a web page to determine how their network is running in their home. Finally, I think homeowners that have this kind of infrastructure are going to be happier homeowners, because when you look at this article, they're talking about 50 billion devices, the Internet of Things, where you have, with IPv6, you've got every grain of sand on earth will have an IP address. Every light, every toaster, every refrigerator, every computer, everything will be connected, and it will have data flowing to and from the network and within their walls, within the homeowner's walls. So with that kind of blinding number, and it just is amazing to me that they're talking about that many devices, it really is key that in order to differentiate your products, your properties, that you provide an infrastructure where they can connect and go. If they go out and buy a new TV and it's a 4K TV, they can connect it up and go. If they get 3 new tablets and 2 new cell phones, they can connect it up and go. And by connecting, I mean, it's going to really support a distributed Wi-Fi infrastructure as well, which that's one of the main complaints I get is Wi-Fi dropouts. And it's because people are trying to cover too much of their home infrastructure with one Wi-Fi router or one Wi-Fi access point. So having a fiber spine in place allows you to distribute that Wi-Fi coverage throughout your home and out into the backyard if you've got a pool or something of that nature, so that you're not constantly aggravated by the dropouts that occur from not having great coverage or having better coverage from your neighbor than you do. So I really appreciate your time. I'd like for you to call and we can discuss what some of the options are for deployment, and I think you'll really be pleased with this technology. Thanks. Talk to you soon.